Can the Raiders bounce back and come back to 1-1 against the Arizona Cardinals? We're going to talk about 4 keys to the game I think they need to do to secure this win right now. Welcome, Raider Nation and my champions. This is Eric, and of course, we are live this Friday evening to do our Week 2 game preview against the Arizona Cardinals. That's right, we're going to be hosting having our home opener against the Arizona Cardinals after a loss to the Chargers in our season opener at SoFi Stadium, 24-19. I'm going to give 4 keys to the game, 2 on offense, 2 on defense. I think if we can do those 4 things, we will come out on top and win going away, to be honest with you. I want to say hello to all of you in here right now. I see some people filing in. Scotty Kirkpatrick on TikTok. Yoshimitsu here in YouTube land. Of course, we are simulcasting both on YouTube and TikTok. Raider Wolf, I see you here. I don't see my own message in the chat. I do see your message in the chat, Raider Wolf. So it should be there. Try to refresh. Just hit the refresh button. It should be okay. If you are new to the program, this is how we normally do things around here. This is how we normally do things around here. And let's see. We go by what we call our rundown. Now, these are the topics we're going to be talking about tonight, of course. And at the end, we always finish off with the question and answer segment. So you put your questions and comments in the chat, and we will get to those either right now or during the Q&A segment right now. Let's see. Raider Wolf is saying, I said 8 out of 10 analysts predict the Raiders will win against the Cardinals. Yeah. Any word on KO, says George Gagosian. Not yet. There's been no official signing. There was rumors that he was being brought in, but I have not heard anything on that. We'll get to that with, yes, Colicchio Simile. We'll get to that in a minute once we get to our injuries. But first of all, I want to talk about our champion count.
We're going to take what we want.
And of course, the first thing I want to talk about is our champion count. Because without you, this show isn't possible. And of course, we are still climbing 806 now. Well done. We got a new one today called Jack Thrax 1. I'm hoping he will either be here now, or I see a few people already in here. You can say hello. Welcome to the program. Welcome to being a champion here on the channel. And of course, TikTok is growing steadily as well, as we have a few people here in TikTok. And I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you. If it was not for you, this channel would not be here. And Raider Wolf says, I have not heard anything either. They just visited the Raiders. That is true. There's been no official signing. So at least this week, don't expect him in silver and black. Let's see. We had a poll of the week. Now, if you noticed, YouTube's gotten a little fancier here with our polls of the week. Normally it's just text. They allowed us to put some pictures in. You don't get as many text characters in here. So what I asked was, what was the most important thing the Raiders need to do to win versus the Cardinals? Overwhelmingly, you guys said no turnovers, clean up the turnovers. I'm going to talk about that. I also put spread the ball around, run it some more, and then others. One of you actually said to contain Kyler Murray. We're going to talk about that too. Why don't we get right into that in our defensive matchup?
The team's quarterback must go down, and he must go down hard.
That's right, Al. The other team's quarterback must go down and must go down hard. And of course, before we start with the defensive side of the ball here, we have to go over the injuries. We have some significant injuries, especially on the Raiders side of the ball. Unfortunately, we had some injuries after week 1. We got 3 players that are out. Andre James, our starting center. We'll talk about that on the offensive side of the ball. Trayvon Merrick and Denzel Perryman are out for this week 2 matchup, and just next man up. So don't have to worry about that. Sam Webb and Nate Hobbs were battling some injuries. They have been taken off the injury list, so I believe they'll be good to go for week 2. As far as Arizona Cardinals side, we have Andy Isabella, Rondell Moore will be out. Those are kind of backup wide receivers. Jalen Thomas, their starting free safety, is questionable. I think he'll play. And then Watt, Trayvon Mullen, I'm not so worried about, and Dustin Pugh. So, as far as this matchup goes, let's take a look at where we are. Deron Harmon's likely going to be our starting free safety for this week. Darren Butler will be the middle linebacker when we line up in a standard 4-3 setup. So I not only watched our game, but I watched the Kansas City Arizona game from week 1, and some things stood out to me on both sides of the ball. And the first one I want to talk about is, of course, welcome champions. Yes, absolutely, Raider Wolf. Welcome champions and go Raiders. Of course. So first thing I want to talk about, the first key to this game, and it should be pretty obvious, is with Kyler Murray. He's a little short, but he can throw the ball. He is a running quarterback, but he can throw the ball. To me, you're kind of picking your poison here with this guy, and preferably, I want to keep him in the pocket. Don't let his legs kill us, okay? And this is what I'm looking for here. I want less than 50 yards rushing and no individual rushes over 20 yards for Kyler. Now, last week he had 5 for 29, but one of those was for 21 yards. I don't want to have him break any big runs here. He needs to be contained. This is where Denzel Perryman would come in. So Butler's going to have his hands full with this guy, obviously. And then I put 4 sacks because you know why? We didn't get a sack last week. We need to come back. I'm confident Chandler Jones is going to want to look good in front of his old team. Of course, Max Crosby, some redemption here. So basically, they're going to be coming in on the edges. I think they're going to have an easier time than they did against the Chargers. To be honest with you, the Chargers have a better offensive line, in my opinion, than Arizona. The big issue is once they come in on the edges, is Murray going to be able to squeak away up the middle and get 10, 15, 20 yards? We have to control that. So that's my first key to the game right here. My second key to the game is going to be a little bit different now. I don't know if you watched the game with Kansas City and Arizona, but there was one player that could be was a pain in the butt for them, could be for us, and it's this guy right here. It's Greg Dortch. We don't want to be scorched by Dortch. Now, he had 7 for 63 yards. He had 9 targets last week, and the stat I want to look at is it's kind of telling. Arizona had 18 first downs last week against Kansas City. Chargers had 18 against us as well, 3 of which were by Dortch himself. And he's a little guy, 5'7", 173. Kind of reminds me of a little bit of DeAndre Carter for the Chargers, 5'8", 188. He had 3 on 4 targets for 64 yards and 3 first downs as well last week against us. This could be a sticking point for us. So Amik, you're going to have to earn your money this week. Murray likes his outlets. He likes his running backs. He likes his tight ends. I think our outside corners will do a decent job against these 2 guys. I think the Chargers wide receivers are a little bit better, but I want to hold this guy to less than 70 yards. He had 63 last week, and I want less than 4 first downs. So this is more of just kind of controlling and maintaining this offense. It's not as high powered as the Chargers, of course. So we want to get off the field. I believe they were 4 of 12. The Arizona was last week. We need to, as far as third down conversions, we need to keep them on that kind of a pace as well. And this is how you do it. Now, of course, I would be remiss to say a little thing. Of course, if you're new to this channel, we also not only do our game previews on Friday, but we also go live at halftime of each game. So it's going to be a 1:30 start. We'll be live at about 3 o'clock Pacific. I go over the good, the bad, the ugly, what I saw in the first half, and I go over these keys to the game to see how well we're doing against those. And we go on for about 10 or 15 minutes. We have a good time, and I hope to see you guys there.
And I hear everyone say it, take they give you. We're going to take what we want.
I see you, Benny. I see Benny there and TikTok. I'll answer that question. It's a fantasy question, but I'll answer that once we get to the question and answer segment. And now we're at an offensive matchup, and Raider Wolf is worried about Andre James being gone. And honestly, this guy right here might be their best pass rusher. This could be an issue, and I agree with you fully, Raider Wolf. And my keys to the game are to kind of counteract that. And the first one, of course, is going to be Derek Carr. Now, I would be remiss to say, of course, no turnovers, but that includes no strip sacks. If he does get sacked, he needs to tuck the ball in and just go down with the ball. Nothing popping out. We need no more turnovers from him. 3 was enough. I don't want to see any more turnovers for at least 2 more games from this guy. To be honest with you, I want to see 9+ first downs from either our running back and tight end. So I want the short passing game to be effective. Now, I say this because we don't know what's going to happen, especially with the interior. And not only that, the Cardinals blitz a lot. They blitz the hell out of the ball. So we need to have some quick passes in here. Of course, we're going to be looking for Adams and Renfro, but I think the real key to this game is being able to get the ball off quickly with Carr, not let him get all stressed and hyper on all that, and then he either makes bad decisions or doesn't know what to do inside the pocket. I think if we can get 9+ first downs from either our running backs and tight ends, I think we'll be pretty good as far as counteracting their blitz and their interior pass rush. Now, to let you guys know, we had 7 first downs from these 2 positions last week against the Chargers. And quite frankly, I'm going to say it again, as I said it in the game review. If we didn't have those 3 interceptions, I think we would have won that game last week against the Chargers. So going along this theme, of course, I'm going to say we need to target this guy a lot more in this game. And that's Darren Waller. I'm not so impressed with their coverage. Of course, they had to play against Travis Kelce last week. Of course, he's a stud. But some of the passes Kelce got, he was literally 4 or 5 yards wide open. I don't think Waller's too far away from Kelce as far as talent. I think he can make these guys look silly as well. Plus, you got Thompson, who is fighting off an injury we just talked about. Why not target this guy in the short passing game, short and intermediate passing game, and get him going? And I'm looking at at least 12 targets here, 8 receptions, 100+ yards, and a touchdown for Waller. Just to give you a frame of reference, last week he only had 6 targets and 4 receptions. So I want to double this up. I think if we can do this, counteract their blitzing. Of course, we need to run the ball. That goes without saying. I talked about that last week with the Chargers. But to counteract this blitzing with the short passing game, either screens with the running back, short passes to the tight end, and get Waller more involved, I think we will go a long way in not only beating the Cardinals, but beating them going away. So this is what I have to say about this as far as my keys to the game of winning this game. I want to know what you guys have to say. And let's see. How you guys doing tonight? I see your comments. I'm going to be going through your comments right now. Of course, let's see. Benny UNC had a fantasy question in TikTok. Should I trade CeeDee Lamb and Jacobs for Pittman? I kind of don't like any of those guys, to be honest with you. It'd probably be best to keep CeeDee Lamb to see if Dak Prescott comes back from the thumb injury, to be honest with you. Pittman's probably the best player there right now. It also has to depend on your scoring system and who else you have at those positions, of course. So, to me though, if you're pretty good at wide receiver, I would keep CeeDee Lamb right now. I think someone's trying to get you to sell low on him. Dak comes back, he's going to be the man there, and you're going to be upset that you traded him in October, November. All right, so there's your fantasy tip for the week. How you guys doing? Let's see. Raider Wolf says, I'm mostly worried about Andre James. Trayvon is also a big concern. We need him. I love Merrick. He's a dog. And honestly, I was going to go back to the poll. I usually give my response to the poll of the week. Well, I'm going to say it right now. I put a poll out right now in the chat, in YouTube chat, and we have 7 votes. I asked which injury concerns you the most: Andre James, Trayvon Merrick, Denzel Perryman, or Nate Hobbs. Overwhelmingly, it's Andre James. It's all going to depend on how well Dylan Parham plays, the blocking scheme. Honestly, for me, I'm a little more worried about Denzel Perryman, because he's the guy I would expect a sure tackler to keep Kyler Murray in check in the middle of the field in case Chandler and Max come in off the edges coming after him. He's going to squeak on up the middle. I'd love to have a guy like Denzel Perryman to keep him at bay, give him 2 or 3 yards at best. Now, Butler's going to have to do that, but of course, Perryman's an all-pro guy, very good at stopping the run, middle linebacker type. So it all depends. It could be. I mean, it could be disastrous with Parham there. We won't know. Again, we're kind of playing with fire here with this offensive line. To be honest with you, we were doing it at the right tackle position. Then we cut Leatherwood. Frankly, if we thought that badly about Leatherwood, why didn't we get a veteran to come in as a backup player, as a backup plan? I know we have Illuminor, but they bounced him and Thayer Munford in and out week 1. Kind of okay results. I think things were kind of falling apart later on in the game. I think the first half or 3 quarters, we looked pretty good there overall. I think a lot of the sacks and pressures were missed blocking assignments by the running backs and Carr holding the ball too long. If nobody's open, run with the ball. I don't think he ran at all in that game, to be honest with you. And, there was no stats for it. I didn't see it. So he needs to do more of that. But it is a concern that kid Lawrence they have, very tough up the middle. It's going to be a tough matchup, and they're going to have to adjust the blocking schemes accordingly. Rich Vitale says the coaches just need to call a better game. That's part of it. Of course, I thought they should have ran the ball a lot more up front when, it was early on. I think the weakness of the Charger defense is up the middle. It is not their secondary. It is not their edge rushers. So if you want to pass a lot, you're playing into the teeth of their strength on the defense. Should have ran up the middle. You saw that a lot on Thursday night game. If you watched last night, a lot of runs up the middle against the Chargers. Of course, they had Patrick Mahomes and all that, but still, CH was doing well. Isaiah Pacheco was doing well there. McKinnon had a touchdown. So I think we need to run the ball a lot more in this game. Let's see. And the short passing game, because, again, Arizona blitzes a lot. They blitz a lot. Let's stave that off with some screen plays, some design plays to get the ball short, and then let guys like Waller get your yards after the catch, and he's good at doing that. Rich says the Chiefs threw almost all short passes and screens. Well, yeah, and you have to, because Arizona blitzes like crazy. If you watch the game, and that, and not only that, they last night they had Bosa and Khalil Mack to deal with. So Chargers looked really good in the beginning, and things kind of fell apart. And then of course the pick 6, but that game, it was almost like our game last week where we probably should have won, but we made some mistakes, and the Chargers took advantage of it and won. I think the Chargers probably should have won that game. They made the pick 6. That was the difference in the game. Easy win if we run the ball and throw short. Well, yeah, on the offensive side of the ball, but the defensive side of the ball, we're going to have to contain Kyler Murray and Dortch. I think they're going to want to do the short passing like they did last week against the Chiefs. I'm not so worried about the outside threats, AJ Green, Hollywood Brown. I'm not so worried about those guys. I'm more worried about Dortch in the slot. I'm worried about Zach Ertz as the tight end. They had some success throwing to James Conner in the flat last week. I think that's where they're going to want to try to get their gains. Nothing deep. I don't think they're going to have time to go deep. I think our pass rush is going to want to atone for last week. But I see a lot of edge coming around the outside, and Kyler Murray kind of squirting it, up the middle and getting a first down, 5, 6, 10 yards. We got to watch that. Like I said, that's one of our keys to the game. How about those Chiefs? They probably should have lost last night, to be honest with you. Reminding me a lot of the Raider-Charger game last week. If the Chargers played as well as they played in week 1, the Chiefs would have lost that game. No doubt in my mind. I know they got Mahomes and all that, but they were playing at a certain level. I think they outplayed the Chiefs in the first half easily, and they only had a 3-point lead. They should have scored more, and I think that was part of the downfall and then the mistakes. Rich Vital says Chargers are going to get Herbert killed. They have no run game. They don't want to run the ball. They're trying. I don't know what they're doing with Austin Eckler. They're trying to spell him. I know there was talk about Eckler saying he wanted less carries and less wear and tear for the season. They're kind of spreading the ball around. I get it, but it's not as effective, of course, but plus, they had some injuries. Lindsley got hurt. Another lineman, I can't think, just left my mind. They had 2 linemen get hurt last night, and that's a pretty good line. So that's a problem. That's going to be a problem for them. Mahomes should have gotten picked off 3 times easily. Yeah, I don't know what to say about him, Rich. He's very unorthodox. He thinks he's a shortstop out there throwing the ball sideways, and it works. I don't know how, but it works. And I'm surprised nobody's coming up, no linebackers coming up, seeing that sidearm pass, catching it, and going for 6. I'm still waiting for that. I don't see that. I don't understand why that's not happening. Let's see if anybody's talking in TikTok. Nope. I don't even know. Benny, are you still there? You asking me fantasy questions? Hey, Dominique, how you doing? I see you popping in here. How you doing tonight? So what do you guys think? What do you guys think? You think we're going to win this game? Put a 1 in the chat if you think we're going to win this game against the Cardinals. Put a 2 in the chat if you think we're going to lose again. And then put a 3 if you're not quite sure. Could've, should've. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Whoop. Rich with a 1. Hefe with a 2. He's hoping. He's hoping to God. It would be amazing to me if they lost. I mean, considering how they only lost by 5 points against the Chargers, and they gave up the ball 3 times, and the Chargers played like almost perfect football, and we only lost by 5 points. I mean, let's think about it, guys. If the Waller pass wasn't behind him, that's another 4 points. We get a touchdown instead of a field goal. We don't go for it on 2-point conversion. The game's tied. Even with the turnovers, it would have been a tie ball game. So we shot ourselves in the foot week 1. I think we're going to come back. I'm fully confident that Josh McDaniels is the type of coach with the discipline that he's going to bounce back from this. I'm not so worried about it. Murray studied this week. I'm not going to go there, Tefe. I'm not going to go there if these coaches are competent. You pound the ball against this team. They got a pretty good secondary. Thompson's banged up. Still have Budda Baker. The corners are a laugh, to be honest with you. I'm not so worried about the corners. The safeties are something. And Lawrence, I think that's the biggest problem on their defense, to be honest with you. And we need to run the ball more. They're going to blitz. We need to tire these guys out. Don't pull a Charger game and let their defense dictate us. We're the offense. We need to dictate to them. That was the problem last week. Pass. And I even put a note, if you saw it on YouTube, I was watching the game. First 4 plays for the Chiefs were run plays and then a screenplay against the Chargers. That's what we should have done. That's what we should have done. You got to counteract these guys. They got a great secondary and they have great pass rushers. What the hell are you doing passing every down? That's dumb. Hefe the clown. Hefe's all right. He's all right. He's I'm not going to say he's a clown, but I think he's more of a troll than a clown. I think he enjoys coming in here and giving us crap, especially when we lose. Let's see. Who else is in here? I see 5 people in here, and I only got 2 votes. Well, 3 votes. Where are the other 2 at? Put your votes in. Put your votes in. And you guys are still worried about it. We got 10 votes in on the poll for the live stream. Andre James leading the way, 70%. Yeah, it could be. I'm surprised there's nothing for Denzel Perryman, especially when we're playing against Kyler Murray. He's like a video game guy. Him and Justin Fields are problems. I'm glad we don't play the Bears this week, or this year again rather. Love, not enjoy. Oh, Hefe. Hefe's okay. He behaves himself for the most part. Like I said, he likes to troll. He likes to come in here. I don't think he seriously thinks we're gonna lose. Hefe, what I saw you put an L down. I want to know why you think we're gonna lose this game on Sunday. I want to hear some logic and some reasoning out of you. I mean, anybody can just say, "Oh, we're gonna lose every game." What's gonna happen? You think Carr's gonna throw 3 more interceptions? I don't think so. I really don't think so. I'm not as concerned about the secondary of the Cardinals. I mean, come on. They traded for Trayvon Mullen, for crying out loud. That's how bad off they are. The safeties, Budda Baker is a little worrisome. But Darren Waller can own anybody they got. I am not concerned about that. We need to have some short passes. We need to kind of have some West Coast type of offense. That's what I said. Carr blitzes a lot. That's why I said my key to the game. We need to dump it off. We need some screens and outlet passes to the running backs. We need to get Darren Waller more involved. I want to double our targets to Darren Waller in this game because those guys can't cover him. Blitz all you want. We're going to burn you. That's what's going to happen. If we play it right, that's exactly what should happen. Let's see. Anybody in... I think Benny took off. I think he got his fantasy information and left on TikTok. Good old Benny. Benny and the Jets. Trying to trade CD Lamb. What an idiot. Give me a friggin' break. See, somebody's sending him a crappy trade. Why? Because they know he's dumb. He'll probably do it. So, anyway. So, what about the offensive side for the Cards? How are they actually gonna score? Is it gonna be the Kyler Murray show? I mean, they're gonna have to score some points. What are they gonna do? Chargers couldn't run the ball against us. I'm not so worried about Connor. That's why I'd like to have Denzel Perryman there, but we've been tackling very well on the defensive side. The defense kept us in this game, to be honest with you, especially in the second half. Only gave up 7 points, right? So, she says, Hefe. I want to know, give me some scores. Give me some scores. I want to hear some scores. Murray to Brown and Murray getting all these. Hollywood Brown, give me a break. I'm not buying that. I'm not buying Hollywood. Rock Ya-Sin's got him on lockdown. I'm not worried about it. Murray's not going to have that much time to go deep to him. He's not. Our edge rushers are going to get on him like glue. It's going to be the short passes. It's going to be Dortch. It's going to be the problem. Short passes to Connor, Eno Benjamin, those guys. Yeah, they're not gonna go deep. They're not gonna be able to go deep. I'm telling you, this front four is gonna play with some vengeance. I'm telling you. Raider Wolf says we're gonna slap the shit out of those birds. Arizona, I don't know. They've lost a lot on defense, like I said before. They're not the same team they were a year or two ago. Unless we do something stupid, we should win this game by double digits, easy. 34-20 Raiders. I could see that, Raider Wolf. I could see that. I would be surprised if Arizona gets 20 unless we have some kind of defensive breakdown or something. 30-20 Cards. I called it perfectly against the Chargers. You called it where? Hey, Dominique Maldonado says 45-10 Raiders. Wow. I don't know about that. I don't know if we're going to score 45. The problem is, like Hefe said, Arizona blitzes a ton. We're going to have to get the ball out quickly. I think we could have long sustaining drives. I don't see us like dropping bombs or anything. This is going to be like crossing routes to Devontae and Hunter Renfrow, kind of little short intermediate post routes. It's not going to be deep down the sidelines. We're not going to get that because we're not going to have time to do that. So, Jefe, por favor. Kyler Pesci is going down hard. Chandler Jones is going to eat. Yeah, I'm wondering if, like I said, Chandler Jones, I think we're going to get at least 4 sacks in this game. Chandler will probably get 2 or 3. I think, let's see, Crosby will probably get 1, and then we'll get somebody on the blitz. Maybe Nate Hobbs will get 1, something like that. I know he's small and he's tough to tackle, but I think that's the key to the game. I'm leaving my corners man up because we're coming after him. He's not going to have time. He's not going to have time for them to go deep. A guy like Dortch is going to be the main problem with their receiving game. You're going to get a slot guy, 8 or 10 yards. Like I said, Amik Robertson's got to be on his game. It is what it is. So, let's see. So anyway, I want to let you guys know I will be out here live about 3 o'clock Pacific time doing the halftime show. Come on about 10 or 15 minutes. Last week, I got interrupted a couple times in Southern California. We had like power outages, of course. If you don't know, California is like going through power outages. It should be cooler this weekend, so hopefully we don't get nailed for that. And I'll come on, I'll give my good, bad, and ugly, and then we're going to go over these 4 keys of the game, and I'll show you how well we're doing. So I'm expecting at least a 7-point lead at halftime for the Raiders, if not 10-point lead, maybe end up with a 17 or 20-point lead at the final. This ain't no Lord of the Rings. Hobbits don't win, not this Sunday. Oh, God. I know what you're talking about, Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is a Hobbit. Earth Daughter has an accidental emoji. Took it back. So no harm, no foul. Welcome, Earth Daughter. How you doing? Kind of surprised Sandy B's not in tonight. She must be busy tonight. But that's okay. Let's see. You guys got any more questions? If you want to talk about Raiders, you want to talk about the game last night. I watched that. Very interesting. To be honest with you, like I said, I think the Chargers should have won that game. They should have gotten they should have had at least 14-point lead at halftime. The way they played, they totally worked KC. KC came back, of course. They got good coaching, got Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, they're going to come back. And then, Herbert was getting hit. Herbert made the pick 6 mistake. And they barely lost. They lost by 3 friggin' points. So, like I said, it was kind of reminiscent of our game last week with the Chargers. I think overall we probably outplayed the Chargers. If you look at the stats, I mean, Carr had more passing yards than Herbert, had the same amount of first downs. We were better on third down conversions than the Chargers last week, and yet we lost by 5 points because we turned the ball over 3 times and they played flawless game basically. Let's see. Raider Wolf says, man, even though I hate the Chargers, I do feel bad that Herbert got hurt. Always sucks when a player gets hurt. I don't wish that on them. It's just a game. I want them to die or nothing. I haven't heard anything. I heard his rib injury. I have not heard the latest on that. I didn't look at their injury reports, whether or not. But I mean, they have 10 days, so I don't think they even have to report it until next week since they played the early game. So we'll see what happens. If it's just a rib, I mean, unless it's severely cracked, he could wear like a flak jacket and play. So Raider Wolf says, I really don't understand what Chargers coach was thinking. Continue to play him the way he was hurting so bad. What do you think about that, champ? Well, Herbert probably said he wanted to stay out there as well. Let's be honest with you. He's a gamer. He's a very good quarterback. And the game was still within reach. So why not play? And you're playing in Arrowhead Stadium. Why? I mean, you're the leader of the team. You're the quarterback. It is what it is. So Hefe saying Carr getting benched after this week. Are you kidding me? He would have to throw 3 or 4 interceptions, and I mean, Budda Baker would have to get 3 or 4 interceptions because I don't think any other player on the Cardinals defense can catch the ball. To be honest with you, playing with fire. We'll see. We'll see what happens with the rib. Again, unless there's like some kind of compound break, he can play with that, even with a flak jacket on. I mean, it's not comfortable, but he can still do that. Ray Wolf says, Carr's going off on this game. I think Carr's going to bounce back. I don't know if he's going to go off. Maybe 2 or 3 touchdowns. We'll see. It's going to be a lot of short passes. I hope they don't like drop back 7-step drop and try to throw deep, because that's going to be a problem. That would be very stupid in this game, especially considering we have a starting center. We got a rookie in there. I think maybe he could probably do well, but he's up against tough competition. You know, he's up. I think he's Lawrence is probably their best pass rusher. So it's going to be difficult. I'm not really worried about the edge rushing. Again, we need to offset. It's going to be blitzes. They like to blitz like crazy. Like to blitz the safety. Like to blitz the linebackers. We have to offset that with screenplays, draws, counters, short passes to the tight end. Waller's going to be singled up. It's time you get him the ball. We paid him. He's a stud. Time to utilize him. Let them play on their heels. Let us dictate the terms here for once. All right, I'm going to end the poll. We got 15 votes. Hello? You don't hear me? No sound, Paul? Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you guys hear me? Paul says I have no sound. It looks like I have sound. Where are we at? Raider Wolf says, when we played the Chargers, I said it's going to be a tough matchup. Yeah, Raider can hear me. Yeah, everybody can hear me. Paul, turn up your volume. Turn up your volume. Raider Wolf says, when we played Chargers, said it was going to be a tough match, close game against Cardinals. We're confident we're going to smash the team. They're not going to stop us. And that's how I felt too. Even when I did the schedule prediction over Labor Day weekend, we went in here game by game. I even said, I don't think we can sweep the Chargers. We're probably going to split with them. And I very well said, well, if we could lose week 1 and then was it week 11, we could win that one as well. So that one could flip-flop. So they're a tough team. I mean, they're a playoff caliber team, and they were playing in midseason form. Let's be honest. Herbert was playing lights out last week. No mistakes. Maybe one or two errant passes, to be honest with you. And their offensive line did pretty well. Got a little bit of pressure, but not as much as we needed. No sacks. Relatively clean game for them. Paul says, I can't in the good, no sound at all. Try to refresh. Hang on. Let me write that in there. If you have problems with YouTube or a feed, just hit the refresh button and it'll pop back up and the live feed will come on. Sometimes that works. Sometimes you get glitches like that in the system. It is what it is. So, got any other questions? I normally, if you're new here, I normally go about an hour, about 40 minutes in. Close the video, go to your history, open the video again. Just basically try to refresh it. If everybody else is hearing it but you, so Carlos LVR, bounce back week 2, knock off the rust, start building the chemistry, Raider Nation for life. That's how I feel too. I mean, let's be honest. Week 1 against the Chargers, they're no slouch team. Like I said, they're a contending team in the AFC. Obviously, if you saw my my power conference rankings, they were right there, right behind us. I think I had us at 3rd and they were 4th. So they're right there, and that's a tough game out of the chute. And like I said before, remember, our starters didn't have one snap in the preseason, and it kind of showed. Carr was erring on some passes, threw it behind Waller. That was an easy touchdown breakaway. What do you think's going to happen against this Cardinal defense? Give me a break. Waller's going to be 5 yards open just like Kelsey was. All Carr has to do is find him and get those points. That's all that has to happen. Hey, Chevy, how you doing? Sound is good. Great. So anyway, somebody in TikTok asked me a fantasy question earlier. Didn't even say thank you or nothing. I had to block Benny UNC. Raider Wolf says, Champ, what's your take on getting KO? I'd like to have him back. I'd like to see what he can do. I don't think he's the same player as he was before. He was kind of declining. That was the whole thing a couple years back when I talked about that, when they reshuffled the offensive line. It was kind of the right thing to do. Hudson, Assembly, they weren't as good as they were before, and they wanted big money. Of course, Trent Brown, Mr. Big Mac, you get about half a season out of him. He's not worth big money either. I'd like to see what he can do. I have faith in the organization and coaching staff. If they think he's got enough to play, he can play. Obviously, it'd be a guard situation. I don't think he can play tackle or center. So let's see. Injuries is what sets him back. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't think he was as effective though that last season. Maybe he was playing with injuries, but I'd like to see it because obviously nobody else has him on a squad, so that ought to tell you something. Kind of like KJ Wright last season. Remember, KJ Wright came in after training camp. Nobody wanted him. Seattle didn't want to sign him. We needed a linebacker. He was there, very kind of up and down, more down for me than up, and now he's out of the league. So let's see. Hefaces LV has the Raiders. Las Vegas has the Raiders going 8-9, or do you have the Raiders going 8-9? They might be looking at your offensive line. How did Mahomes break his thumb? Mahomes broke his thumb? I didn't hear about that. Let's see. Is there anyone you think we should sign? I'm wondering. What do we? I don't know. Are we gonna try to get Ndamukong Suh? Like I said, it cost us about $8 or $9 million on the cap. We've got about 18, I think, free. I I still think we need some pressure. I think Bilal Nichols played pretty well overall the first week, but I'd love to have Sue subbing in and out of there. Hurt his wrist. He'll play. I think he'll be okay. If it was serious, we would have heard something today, like surgery or something like that. We would have heard something, I think. So if he was going to Hefe, did you? I didn't hear anything about him like going to orthopedic surgeon or anything like that. Let's see. Throwing hand. I'm not worried about it unless he's going to have surgery. It's not going to affect us. We play them in week 5. He's going to have plenty of time, even if it's just a minor thing, to heal back up from that to play us. I'm not worried about that. We got to worry about Arizona. Non-throwing hand. It's not going to matter then unless he can't grip the ball. That's not going to matter then. Let's see. Anybody got any other questions before we call this one? 47 after. And we normally go about an hour again. If you are enjoying this, especially if you're on the replay, if you're watching this on the replay, why don't you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification, set it to all. That way you'll be here with us. You'll be notified and you'll be here live with us and have a great conversation. We got a lot of good people. Even Hefe, he knows some things too, even though he's a Chiefs fan. He's got some knowledge there too, so he's welcome here as well. Yeah, if you're a Cardinal fan, you want to talk, come tomorrow. Come Sunday, halftime. Come Monday, we're going to do our game review of Sunday's game, and I'll give the grades out for the keys to the game and the offense and the defense overall. If you want to talk, you can come by here too. That's fine. So let's see. Chevy says KO gets a lot of penalties too. Father Time is undefeated. So what kind of player are we going to get KO wise? I'd rather go after another tackle than a guard at this point. We might want to go after a center if I know Andre James had a concussion. Is he going to be out another week? And if Parham doesn't pan out there this week, we have issues. That could be something as well. Let's see. I'm out of questions at this time. Appreciate it, Raider Wolf. That's fine. Rich says, I wanted Chiefs to win last night, but they really didn't look good. They probably will give away some games pretty easily. I don't know. Like I said, I still think the Chargers probably should have won that game. That's a game that got by them. That's a game that kind of got away. And yeah, like Hefe said, it was a Thursday game, short week. You're having to go to their house in Arrowhead Stadium and Missouri. Let's see. Who is taking, Chevy says, who's taking Merrick's and Perryman's spot? It's probably going to be Darian Butler, middle linebacker, and probably Deron Harmon will be taking the free safety spot. They're on the depth chart, and to me, it makes sense. I'm more concerned with Perryman because he's our inside guy to slow down Kyler Murray if he tries to squeak out and run. I think our edge rushers are going to be pretty good at containing him on the outside. He's going to try to squirt up the middle and get some yards. Rich says the Raiders are going to need to bite the bullet and trade away some draft picks for a legit right tackle. I don't know. Are they? And who's going to trade with us? That's a bigger question, Rich. Which team has a plethora of right tackles for us, I think we're kind of paying for the sins of the previous regime that couldn't draft their way out of a paper bag, especially in the first 2 rounds. And then they get lucky with a few later round draft picks. Let's be honest here. Tevin Jenkins was on the board. We could have had him. I know they moved him to guard, but I'll tell you what, I wouldn't mind him at right tackle right now for the Raiders. It would have been a better spot than Alex Leatherwood. That's for damn sure. Rich Vital says Perryman was not the green dot in the game. Diablo was. Yeah, I'm not saying that. I want Perryman's tackling skills because I have a feeling Kyler Murray's going to be running for his life, and he's going to have to do it on the inside, not the outside. He's small. He's going to squeak by a hole inside and then try to get some yards. For the right price, anybody will trade. If that was the case, we should have went out and got free agents. I mean, there's still some decent free agent tackles out there. If we want some veteran guys, some decent ones, you know. I talked about Massey. I've talked about Mike Remmers. They're not studs, but you know, why aren't we having? Especially they put Parker on IR. Why aren't we going after another tackle? Let's see. Raider Wolf says Mahomes is fine. I looked it up. Diablo's faster, so is Jayon Brown. Well, yeah, of course. We'll see. I'm gonna be it's gonna be interesting to see. I think that's Arizona's game plan on the offensive side. Short passes, Dortch, Ertz, Connor, Emo Benjamin. Try to go deep. If they've got the protection, I'm kind of wondering. I don't think they will. I wouldn't put it past Ron Harmon getting an interception in this game. To be honest with you, they try their luck out there. Be very interesting to see. And Kyler Murray running around. Is that going to be enough? I don't think it will be enough. Both teams are kind of desperate, of course. They're 0-1. Neither one wants to go 0-2. But I just think the Raiders have more firepower in this game. And unless they screw it up, they should win it. That's the bottom line. Rich says coaches are trying to be too cute. Just pay the price even if it's overpriced. Are they that desperate? I mean, this is I'm scratching my head, but this is a head scratcher to me. If it almost feels like were they thinking about cutting Alex Leatherwood right from the get and giving him every chance? Because the more Alex played in the preseason, the worse he looked, and I think he got in his head. And if that's the case, why didn't they just have him as a backup? He was still in the rookie contract. To me, they didn't think he was salvageable if you're just going to cut a guy like that. So, former first-round pick, of course. So, if they were thinking that, why didn't they have a nice insurance policy? And then Brandon Parker's not the insurance policy. Brandon Parker's trash. He was only there as a swing guy, and he looked crappy in the preseason on the left side anyway. So, I agree. We're paying for the last 5 bad drafts. Yeah. It is what it is. So, but we're still a good team. We're just going to have to adjust some things, and hopefully our coaching staff makes the adjustments. Hopefully we run the ball more. offset the questions at offensive line. Run the ball more? We need to do that. To me, that's the bottom line. Run the ball. Short passing game. Get Waller more involved. Arizona can't cover him. They couldn't cover Kelsey. Waller's right there. They're not going to cover Waller. Watch the game with Kelsey. There are times where he's 4 or 5 literally 4 or 5 yards open. I'm like, oh my God, this is pitch and catch. What the heck's going on? That's what I want to see. So, all right, let's see. All right, we're at 55 after. We're going to close this out. I want to thank you guys for coming out. Of course, come back out Sunday afternoon, 3 p.m. Pacific. Hefe, you can come out too. I'm sure you might come out, especially if we're doing poorly in the game. We're going to go at halftime about 10 or 15 minutes. Hopefully my power doesn't go out again. We're going to do the good, the bad, and the ugly, what I'm seeing in the game, and also going to those keys to the game. Are we getting those objectives or are we not? Thank you guys for coming out again. Appreciate every single one of you coming out, not only coming out and supporting the channel and liking and subscribing, but being here in chat, interacting. That's what this channel is all about. Otherwise, I could just make videos and just put them out. I want some interaction. I want some live streams, some talking with you guys as well. So, FA pound sad. Yes, run the damn ball too, Raider Wolf, and get Darren Waller involved. Get Darren Waller. I want 100+ yards and a touchdown from Darren Waller in this game. Thank you guys once again, and as always, go Raiders.
Something with all the distractions that you have off the field, how are you able to keep focused on winning football games as you do and do throughout the year?
When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing: just win, baby.